Hello everyone, here we are again with Ahmet Erdi Öztürk on Turkish currents. Here we are going to continue to speak about the changes in Turkish foreign policy, in sort of new Turkey, new foreign policy. Much of what is happening is to do with foreign policy issues, of course. Erdi, good to be with you again.
Thank you so much, Yavuz. Thanks a lot for having me.
Now, of course, as I said, everything that probably will define the future course of Turkey as a whole, Turkey's state policies, Turkey's course, etc., has to do with foreign policy. And recently we have seen again another, perhaps, stepping stone or turning point with US President Joe Biden's statement declaring 1915 events as genocide, atrocities as genocide, which caused a lot of uproar, nationalist uproar at home in Turkey. But many other things are basically in suspension state, actually. Eastern Mediterranean, as we also have seen recently, most recently in Geneva talks, which is about the informal meeting, of course, but this was taken as a very important gathering on the parts, Turkey, Cyprus, Turk-Cyprus, Greek-Cyprus, and Britain as well. And in there, again, we have seen important changes in Turkish policy vis-a-vis the settlement talks in Cyprus, two-state solution, which was downright rejected by the other parties. So all in all, in a nutshell, we are going to continue to speak about Turkish foreign policy, especially with you. And important thing is, I think, to notice how interrelated these Turkey's new identity and new Turkey's foreign policy. I think you have worked a lot about this in a very productive way recently, Erdi, and you are basically defining this foreign policy and our understanding of it resting on four interrelated parameters, which is militarization, Islam, civilization, and power. So let us go through these things and how you see the developments in the light of White House statement, Cyprus talks, etc., etc.
Thank you so much, Yavuz. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, I have been writing academic articles since 2015, and it's like a half decade. And within this half decade, I am one of the academics who is the fan of this concept, New Turkey, because this New Turkey is not only symbolizing the transformation of Turkey's institutions, it's also symbolizing the transformation of the state mentality that we call in France raison d'etre. So, I mean, I wrote about New Turkey, New Diyanet, New Turkey, New Diasporas, New Turkey, new management mentality, and now New Turkey's new foreign policy. We should note that, yes, there has been a huge transformation within the Turkey's domestic politics, but the dramatic changes in domestic politics is not limited into the domestic politics. Since the beginning of the early Republican era or like the late Ottoman Empire, but we know that there has been an intersectionality between Turkish domestic politics and foreign policy. But what we saw that currently the intersectionality level has reached its peak point. What happens in domestic politics, we can easily see that it is reflection in the foreign policy. What happened in foreign policy, we can easily see that it is instrumentalization for the benefit of the current administration or current regime. In academia, that we call that it's a boomerang effect. I mean, someone throwing a boomerang in Ankara and travel in Brussels, DC, London, and then come back to the Ankara, and you can pay it for the benefit of your own political desires. Whether Turkey is alone in this concept, I think I have to ask this question. No, actually, Hungary, UK, even in the Trump's United States, was doing the same thing. And in this regard, I can easily say that Turkey, like many other old countries in the world, is gradually withdrawing from the the old world, the international cooperation that we used to. And Turkey is restoring a new distinction between Western understanding of civilization by synthesizing very subjective understanding of nationalism. It is impossible to define the current nationalism with any concept right now, with very nostalgic vision of history. It is a very personalized reading of history, a very slightly and the gloomy understanding of memory based on the Ottoman and the Turkish history, and Sunni Islam. That is why I underlined in my latest AILA map report that to understand Turkey's foreign policy understanding, we should first scrutinize the transformation in the domestic politics, and then we have to underline four different dynamics: militarization, Sunni Islam, civilization, and power. I mean, I can easily.
Let's take them one by one.
Sure.
What you mean by these interrelated parameters and how we should read into them. Let's begin with, as following that order. Let's begin with, if you do not disagree, militarization.
Militarization. I mean, I was shocked. I mean, we've been talking with some of my colleagues, and particularly with Cengiz Çandar, and he always described me the dronization of the Turkish foreign policy, particularly in the Middle East and North Africa. Then I searched some data, and what I found that according to data published by the
slow, because I think go a little bit slow, because your voice is coming and going, and
okay, sorry for that.
Readers and viewers can understand what your arguments are.
It is the British internet connection. I'm sorry for that.
Yes. I
mean, according to data published by the Stockholm International Peace Research Institute in 2020, what we saw that
which is
and it's a very respectful institution. Turkey's military expenditures saw a 86% increase over the 10 years of period. This is a very dramatical increase, and this is a very, the significant increase that one should scrutinize the background of all of these issues. The first one, what I argued, that it is the reawakening of the ontological insecurities of Turkey. Because whenever Turkey is getting weaker in domestic politics, whenever Turkey or the Turkish administration come across with different kind of critical junctions in its domestic politics, we know that from the late Ottoman Empire period, we know that in 1960s, 1970s, and now again we are facing that Turkey or the Turkish regime, current regime, putting some conflicts, some fatal conflicts, such as the conflict between Gülen Movement and Justice and Development Party, the tension between the liberals and the Justice and Development Party governments, it reawakening the ontological insecurity in Turkey. And to solve this ontological insecurity, nationalism is the biggest tool. And to use that nationalism, you need to expand your military power. On top of that, what I argued in that paper, none of the leaders in Anatolia run that land alone. Neither Sultan Mehmet, nor the magnificent Süleyman, neither Mustafa Kemal and Erdogan is not.
Nor Abdülhamit.
Yeah, it is a collapse of the coalitions. Sitting in the chair of the former Roman Empire shouldn't be an easy job, and you have to establish different type of coalitions. What was the unofficial coalition partners of the AKP previously? Gülenists, liberals, pro-EU members, so on and so forth. But what we saw that, particularly after 2016, with the support of Hulusi Akar and the combination of the Euro-Asianists, even though there has been a new clash, but it is so new, it's hard to scrutinize what would happening within this period. What we know that the Euro-Asian groups and their policies, such as Blue Homeland Doctrine, designed by Cem Gürdeniz and Cihat Yaycı, is one of the main locomotives of all of these militarization. And this is the one of the reasons Turkey has been involving different kind of horizontal and vertical conflicts in the Eastern Mediterranean. This is the one reason. And the other reason is that, I mean, within this Euro-Asianist mentality, they are not only alive in the sea, also they are alive on the land side. What we saw that the Turkey involved very harshly to Armenia and Azerbaijan war. And this is also another new dimension regarding Turkey's foreign policy mentalities, because previously, of course, Turkey stayed like according to its foundation mentality will stay in the Azerbaijan side, but right now Turkey directly involved and like run the war. This is a new issue for for Turkey. So the militarization and the using military is the one side. Mm-hmm. The second one, I think that I liked a lot to talk about, that instrumentalization of Sunni Islam in foreign policy.
That is what I was going to go into. The militarization also marks, just a small question here before we end the militarization segment, that has also emerged as a factor as we saw the total termination of the so-called zero problems with the neighborhood policy. Can it be said in that way?
Definitely. I mean, if you would like to create a zero problem with your neighbors, with your periphery countries, and with your allies, you should promote your soft power. That is all four. These concepts are therefore quite interlocked each other. But if you use military in every single aspects or in every single difficulties in foreign policy, it is so difficult to define your foreign policy activities within the concept of soft power. Indeed, this is the end of the era of so-called zero problem, so-called, I mean, the weird understanding of the neo-Ottomanism, or being a pivotal state within the region and all around the world. So this is also, end of all of these areas.
Also, the Atatürk's famous motto, peace at home, peace in the world, also can be added to this. But yes, let's leave that one and go into the second parameter, which you go deeply into, which is Sunni Islam. Not only Islam, but Sunni, hardcore Sunni Islam, perhaps, as a tool for regional domination and global impact, even on continental and cross-continental sort of approach.
I wouldn't say that it is a hardcore Sunni Islam, because, I mean, there are different readings of Sunni Islam, and never ever Turkish understanding of Sunni Islam would be that hardcore. I mean, it's the Turkification of Islam is still alive, even though Erdogan...
In the eyes of the Orthodox world, for example, the conversion of Ayasofya Museum into a mosque and the first khutbah with the sword in the hand, I think from their eyes, in their optics, can be read as a hardcore Sunni Islam. Don't you agree?
Definitely, but at the same time, they're all the instrumentalization and using Islam as a show-off tool. Yes, there is a huge transformation regarding the instrumentalization of Islam, both at home and abroad. First of all, what we say that Turkey, constitutionally a secular nation, secular country, but has been always used Islam in the domestic politics and in foreign policy. This is not new. But what we saw that three different dynamics is quite new. The first is, I mean, using the giant transnational religious state apparatus, namely Diyanet's instrumentalization all around the world. This is obvious. This is what we know very clear. But the other thing is that Diyanet and other unofficial Turkey's religious institutions, such as Menzil, Naqshbandi communities, and other pro-Erdoganist or the communities within this unofficial coalition has been also very active all around the world.
And communities, orders, and sects.
Communities, orders, sects, tarikats, and all of the stuff are very influential in current Turkish foreign policy. These are very important for the current regime because of two main reasons. The first one is that they have been creating a kind of an international justification for the current regime's activities at home via making a different kind of propagandas to diaspora groups and the other Muslims all around the world. This is the first one. The second one, why Turkey has been seen as a kind of an extremist or an hardcore Islamist, because Turkey, without considering its background, without reading it is religion-oriented heritage. That is why I called it the very subjective understanding of history and memory and nationalism and Islam. Turkey involved one global race, one global conflict with Saudi Arabia, with United Arab Emirates, and with other Muslim majority countries, likewise Egypt. Turkey started to stay with the Muslim Brotherhood globally, and they rejecting to create any kind of partnership or coalitions other Muslim majority countries, maybe except Qatar and Somalia, and positionalize itself as the one of the main player of the global race, namely who's going to be the leader of the global ummah. I mean, we're in 2021. Obviously, no one will be the leader of the global ummah. No one will be the new caliph. But Erdogan, one way or another, as a political desire, wants to control the global Muslim population through the Muslim Brotherhood and its own state apparatus. And this is creating a new face of Turkish foreign policy. This is beyond the limits of the instrumentalization of soft power. This is beyond the limits of the religious-oriented soft power. This is something very different. This is something very new for Turkey. It has never been experienced, so that we will never know that what will be the outputs of these policies. Indeed, this policy has been creating a big security problem for the Western countries, because always burning the fire of the religious-oriented conflicts within the Muslims and between different religions. And Turkey, I mean, it was previously called as a moderate Muslim country, moderate secular Muslim majority country, but right now, in every single international document, in every single research, in every single academic or semi-academic discussion, you will see that Turkey is being defined as an Islamic country. I mean, this is so problematic country, because what we know that at the same time, when you combine your religious discourse with corruption, with other unlawful activities, what we know from Turkey, there has been increasing of deism, there has been increasing of atheism, so on and so forth. Turkey is not that Muslim majority country right now, but on the other hand, it has been defined as an Islamic country from the Western eyes.
You have spoken initially about the boomerang effect, boomerang foreign policy factors. Now, what we have been seeing lately regarding the Islam as parameter defining Turkish foreign policy, some sort of setbacks, backlashes in terms of these usage of these tools with Egypt and particularly, and also Emirates, and also Arab League as a whole, in terms of Turkey as an occupational force, regarded as permanently staying in Syria, also angering Iraq about cross-border operations, etc. And you know, we mentioned Arab League, I mentioned Egypt, the other Maghreb countries are not really impressed about these approaches. So can we say that it is now at the point of having passed the zenith and going downhill? That one?
Yes, it is. It is. Yeah, I mean, Turkey has been going down
back to Ankara,
going down for a long while. But still, when you read any kind of a pro government news outlet, you can easily see that the President Erdogan is at the same time considering as the leader of the global ummah all around the world. I mean, when he gave some reactions during the Oslo, when he tried to support every different kind of the Muslims all around the world, particularly in the Balkans and North Africa. Yes, he has a different kind of a charisma, but right now, as you said, he's playing a division role within the Arab League, within the Sunni Muslim majority league, but at the same time, he has been playing a division and the conflict-oriented role in the Balkans, for example, between Bektashis and the Sunnis. So yes, it is going down the hill, but it is hard to see that how this going down deep is deep from Ankara, maybe it is easy for us to see from outside the Ankara via scrutinizing different resources or getting across different actors.
Okay, so let's leave that because we will certainly have many reasons to return to this subject in the future as well, especially in the near future. It's still a developing story and it's a very fast moving target at the moment. But let's move to the third one, Erdogan Turkey's perception of civilization.
Mm-hmm.
Civilization as a third parameter shaping Turkish foreign policy. What do we have there?
I mean, regarding civilization, the new Turkey's perception of civilization symbolizes first and foremost separation from Western civilization. It has started with Davutoğlu. I mean, if we need to find one guilty who makes this all of these stuff very famous is Davutoğlu. We should mention about that because he very again I'm saying that very subjectively defined a kind of an Ottoman Turkish and the Islamic civilization via making a different kind of soup without any academical or logical order, created a different kind of civilization definition. This is, I mean, the civilization is not something like that. I mean, if you would like to define the civilization codes of your country, you should explore the historical development. And if you are in Anatolia, you should obviously scrutinize the Byzantium Empire background, how and why Anatolia is one of the most prominent migration ways all around, migration ways throughout the history for different civilizations. But
transitional passage.
Definitely, still, it is still is a kind of constant. Yes. But I mean, but Turkey, the current regime preferred to define itself as a non-Western civilization, and within this new definition of civilization, that what we called previously Sunni Islam, being a Turkic and creating a reactive and the aggressive policies is the one of the core of this civilization. Turkey right now, which perceives itself as a unique civilization without like the lack of any kind of combination, and sometimes struggles to forge different alliance and defining itself as a unique position. I mean, the Hagia Sophia decision or some of the discourses of the President Erdogan and the other spokesperson of the Justice and Development Party is definitely an output of all of these new civilization understanding. But at the same time, civilization, what we note that is not only important for discourses, it is also important regarding how you're going to sit on the same table with different countries. And if you classify yourself as a superior and a unique civilization, it will create many different huge problems within the foreign policy. I mean, some argue that Turkey, within this new identity, within this new civilization, has getting stronger, independent, and being a game changer via increasingly addressing the global audiences, via getting some references. It is unique civilization. I think, I mean, in my report, in my book, and other studies, I'm rejecting this idea since to me, the transformation of Turkey's state identity and civilization under different actors of the Justice and Development Party has creating a different jargoning effects, and Islam, nationalism, and this under this unique and uncontrolled understanding of civilization has been playing a dominant role within this new foreign policy. And on top of that, when you combine all of these blurb and gloomy normative concept with right-wing populism, aggressive strategies, I mean, you can see many different tensions all around the world. And with the tensions, and when, like, against all of these tensions, when you show your military card, when you show your religious card, I mean, you can't be the part of the dominant world. And still, you can't be the part of the Euro-Asianist or the China-oriented world at the same time. Because even though Turkey has a huge, strong military, even though Turkey's religious power is something very valuable. This is not enough to compete with the other big powers all around the world. Because as Baskın Orhan said in his books and in one of your broadcasts, Turkey still is a middle power country. It should expect it, and we should observe that its limits. And this brings us to the PowerPoint, actually. I can't hear you. This is the issue.
I'm sorry about that. That brings us to the power concept, power part as the fourth parameter, which you argue that all these things combined makes Turkey sort of an ambiguous power. It's soft power, hard power, offensive power, sharp power, whatever. It's sort of power that maybe is in search for itself due to decisions and choices. So let us touch upon that one and bring it to a conclusion.
Sure. I mean, there are different definitions of power. There are different types of power that we've been categorizing in the foreign policy. Soft power, sharp power, hard power. These are the three main.
We remember we heard a lot about the soft power concept when Abdullah Gül was president, when Babacan was economy minister, because soft power had a lot to do with the economy, interdependence, trade, etc. And also in the early stages of Ahmet Davutoğlu, who was under the influence of Abdullah Gül, who could not come up with this hardcore inner sort of religious identity, he was also promoting soft power initially. And this was something that we heard, but it changed, of course.
It changed dramatically. I mean, if you would like to categorize soft power, I mean, in Turkey, the one of the main problems regarding Turkey's intellectuals, they've been using many terms without knowing any kind of definition. If you ask me to speak about the gender aspects of the Turkish politics, I may kindly reject your offer because I'm not an expert about this issue. But in Turkey, we do not know to say no to people, or we don't know we don't know how to say I don't know. We don't know how to say sorry. These are, I think, three cultural issues. Regarding soft power, everyone is speaking about soft power. But what is that soft power? Indeed, soft power is to perceive your ideas, your ideology, your identity to the others while not using your hard power issues. But soft power also divided into two pieces: normative soft power and material soft power. For the material soft power, if you would like to distribute your soap operas, if you would like to distribute your cultural activities, if you would like to distribute your language, religion, you need to open some institution, you need to establish some collaboration, you need financial resources for that. And what we know that Turkey's economy is, I mean, I'm always defining it as a shrinking condition, but I have to learn a new word actually to define the current circumstance of Turkish economy. Turkey's economy is not eligible to support Turkey's material soft power resources. For normative soft power, Turkish culture, that is what we told that it's a eclectic structure with civilization. It is still very blurry and a problematic position. Religion, Turkey is not considered as a kind of a moderate Islamic or moderate Muslim majority country. Regarding language and all of the stuff, now two different powers, Gülen movement and the Justice and Development Party, fighting internationally. So and if you would like to define one country as an solid and a beneficial soft power, you need to expect it is next moves, it is reactions against throughout the different kind of critical junctions. Can we expect what would be the Turkey's move for any other issues in the world politics? No, we do not know. But still, Turkey is not sharp power, because if you would like to be a sharp power, you have to have a significant and normative power capacity. Likewise, Russia. Even though Russian economy is not strong, everyone is hesitating to get any kind of a conflict with Russia, right? Because it's a historical it's an historical power. It's the same for China, same for other countries, but Turkey is not a sharp power at the same time. again, Turkey is still a kind of a soft power, particularly some countries in North Africa, some places in the Central Africa. But it is a very ambivalent structure of soft power, because you invited that kind of ambivalent country to your country as a soft power, but you never know that what's going to happen next. The Balkan case is, for example, a perfect example. I mean, the Bulgaria, Albania, North Macedonia invited Turkey's Diyanet and other transnational apparatus in late 1990s as a soft power tool. But now this has become a security problem. So yes, on the one hand, it's been doing many different soft power activities, but reactive foreign policy, militarization, unique and superior understanding of civilization make all of these issues very ambivalent. And being an ambivalent is quite dangerous parameter in the global foreign policy.
So we can say that Turkey is semi hard soft power, semi hard power, somewhere in between.
Something between. Therefore, I mean, ambivalence of Turkey's power structure would be the optimist definition that I can give, actually.
Oh, I understand. Erdi, in conclusion, having this conversation, what can be said as of May 2021, Turkish foreign policy changes, identity politics, etc.?
I mean, this is not a crystal clear. This is not a bright picture, definitely. But I mean,
optics.
Yeah, I might be a little bit optimistic than you, because I mean, the ethno-nationalist Sunnification of the Turkish foreign policy and the state identity is crystal clear. It has been creating many different issues, and it will create many different issues. But I think one way or another,
by creating many issues, creating blockages or creating clashes, maybe. Is it what you mean?
Clashes, tensions, conflicts, and many different type of serious divorces between different kind of marriage-based alliances, like United States, maybe NATO. But again, I would say that if we do not know how much this transformation, policy-oriented transformation, affected to the core of the society. And if we define this current regime as an interim type of regime, I would say that, I mean, this kind of transformation is not happening for the first time of the Ottoman Turkish history, and it is likely that the cards may be reshuffled sooner or later. But it is really hard to see the future. The next step would be better or will be worse. It is really hard. It's really difficult to understand from here. But right now, as I said, we can't see a bright, clever, and strategically designed Turkish foreign policy. It is an aggressive, it is a reactive, and with all of these four determinants, and it is not so healthy for that kind of a big country.
Erdi Öztürk, Associated Professor and Marie Curie Fellow, London Metropolitan University. We will continue this conversation, certainly, in the coming conversations in Turkish currents, of course, with different aspects. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much.